my channel, and in today's video I would love to talk about the best releases of spring 2025, and if this is something that you're into, then stay tuned. And actually I took advice of one of my subscribers and I put the camera a bit closer to my face so my videos look a little bit more chatty, and I just checked and I think it looks better. So thank you definitely for this advice. I really appreciate it. And so in this video I wanted to talk about the new releases that stood out to me this spring. There were a lot of releases that I liked, but I chose the ones that I think are the best and most versatile, most unique, etc. You know, just perfumes that kind of stood out to me and that I thought were worth being full bottles. And so I'm gonna start with the kind of daytime fragrances, and then I'm gonna talk about the evening perfumes. And so I'm gonna start with Kurky. And Kurky is definitely my new favorite candy type of fragrance because it smells very happy, it smells uplifting, it just, you know, instantly puts me in a better mood. It smells fruity, light, musky, a little bit candied, but very airy and transparent. If you like sweet scents, but you still want them to be, you know, more grown up and you want them to be elevated and sophisticated, and you definitely do not want them to choke you out, then Kurky is for you because, like I've said, it's very transparent and airy and kind of fluffy, musky, but there's very distinctly a present sweetness here as well that's coming from fruits and that's coming from other candy type of notes. So I really highly suggest Kurky, and I have spoke about Kurky in my other videos. So if you're interested in more like in-depth reviews, then you can check out my other videos on Kurky. And next one is Glossier You Fleur, and like I've said in my other video, this is my now favorite from Glossier because I feel like it beats the original because it adds like a nuance to it and it takes it into more interesting territory versus like being a very generic skin scent that You kind of is. Like, I feel like they were unique. The original You was unique back when it just came out, but now we have so many skin scents like that, and that's why I don't perceive it as unique anymore. And I know lots of other perfumes that smell almost just like You, and that's why the You Fleur kind of stands out to me, and I feel like it's more worth it, it's more interesting, and it definitely is a better version of You, especially for spring and summer. Like You original, maybe for fall, for winter, you know, when you just kind of want like more neutral fragrance. You Fleur is definitely this spring and summer type of perfume that I really enjoyed. There is this interesting combination of like your skin but better type of notes. There is some ambroxan, mineral notes, and then there's also a salt and little addition of apricot skin or peach skin. Is like very small amount of fruitiness in there, but mostly, like I've said, it's ambroxan, it's salt and mineral notes, so it's very good. And like I've said, very salty. It smells like you just came out of the ocean, smelling slightly salty, but you still smell very good. And I would say that florals, I do not really pick up on florals, you know, like I've said, I pick up on apricot skin, but on florals, not really. Maybe they're there, but my nose just is not able to smell them. But nonetheless, this is a very beautiful perfume, and also it's pretty approachable in terms of price. Like, you can get this travel spray and it's not as expensive as other perfumes I'm gonna talk about, and that way you can definitely safely try it without spending a lot of money. And next, I'm gonna talk about Rose Whip, and actually in this video I'm gonna have a bunch of rose perfumes, so in case you do not like rose, I really am sorry, because I feel like it's coincidence that so many good rose perfumes came out, but also maybe I'm in my rose era, like maybe I just started liking rose. I mean, I've always liked it, but I feel like now almost every rose perfume I smell, it's a good rose for me, so you know, I might be a little bit biased here. So the Rose Whip, it's like a very kind of approachable type of rose. It's a fruity rose. It's like a fruity take on a rose because there is a smanthus, and to me it makes this perfume smell kind of like peachy and a little bit apricot-y and very jammy. And rose here, like I've said, it's also jammy, but also it's kind of like fresh. You know, it's not a very overpowering, sweet, deep type of rose. It's not that type of rose. We're gonna talk about a rose like that a bit later, but this is more like a daytime type of rose, but with, like, you know, some darkness to it, some some interesting aspects about it. Like it's not your soapy rose, it's not a dewy rose, it's more of like this jammy, sweet, fruity type of rose that will be good for daytime, but also you can definitely wear it for the evening if you want it, you know, but it's just not gonna give like a very strong kind of punch. It's just going to be more subdued for the evening, but for the daytime it's really perfect. And next perfume is Impadia by BTK, and actually I've heard that some people pronounce it like Impadia or something like that. I may be butchering it, but I'm not sure. But a lot of YouTubers that I have been watching, they pronounce it like Impadia. And so this is definitely, I'm sure you already heard, it's like a mix of Guidance by Amouage and Delina Exclusive by Parfums de Marly. And I wholeheartedly agree with others who make this comparison, because it does truly kind of combine these two scents, and you know, Impadia is born because it's just so similar. Like I would say that the opening is more similar to Delina Exclusive and the dry down is more similar to Guidance. But at the same time, you know, it's its own kind of fragrance. So even if you have those two, I feel like this is not redundant. You know, it really depends on you. And if you do not like Delina Exclusive, if you do not like Guidance, still, you know, try this scent, because you might end up liking it because it's different to an extent. You know, it just kind of combines these two, and that's what, you know, it makes it neither Delina nor Guidance. It just makes it, you know, Impadia. So it smells, like I've said, you know, similar to Delina Exclusive in the opening, and it's my fragrance of the day. And let me kind of remind myself what it smells like. And by the way, it's really powerful. Like, it projects a lot, and also it lasts a long time, so no complaints about longevity and projection whatsoever. It opens up kind of like bright and juicy, and there's a note of pear and there's bergamot, and that's where the brightness and juiciness and like some, you know, slight hint of citrusiness is coming from. But also rose is pretty prominent for me even from the start, and it's very tart and a bit of like sour type of rose, which I like. I like when, you know, perfume has this sour quality about it, but it's not overpowering in any way. And it's also very creamy. And I feel like pear makes this fragrance a bit more approachable, because it adds the very needed fruitiness to this fragrance, because otherwise without it, I feel like it could have been too serious. And so it's rose, it's creamy, it's slightly powdery, it's slightly citrusy, and in the dry down you get that vanilla and Nakigala wood, you know, this kind of like very similar to Guidance. And I feel like also pear is pretty prominent in the dry down. So I would say that if you like very feminine rose scents, then definitely give Impadia a chance. A lot of people have been liking this fragrance and I love it also. I also think that this fragrance have the potential to become one of the most popular fragrances by BTK, because like I've said, it's very crowd-pleasing type of scent. A lot of people like pear, a lot of people like rose and this type of scent profiles. That's why I think it might become popular in the future. But also I would say that this is not a say blind buy, because it's pretty strong, because there's lots of rose, there's Akigala wood, and this might make it too strong and headache inducing for some, especially for very hot weather. So, you know, with that, be careful. And the samples are already available on Lucky Scent, so I highly suggest, you know, sampling it first and then kind of making a decision about it based on your sampling experience. And next perfume is another rose perfume, and you might have guessed it, it's Eladaria. And Eladaria is probably the most sophisticated, most feminine out of all the scents that I have discussed. Like, I feel like Impadia is also very feminine, and Rose Whip also very feminine, but they're more kind of bold and modern and kind of like, you know, confident. And Eladaria is very classy, very subdued type of girl. If a person would be a fragrance, it's very, like I've said, classy, you know, very gentle, very dewy type of fragrance. It smells very powdery and very rose forward, like I've said. And also there's a Lily of the Valley that kind of adds like an interesting twist to this perfume, which I really like. And also, like, it has a bit of that, you know, powderiness, kind of like giving it like cosmetic-y type of feel without going too overboard. Like it's not too powdery, but I think that if you completely hate powderiness, you might not like Eladaria. Like you have to be at least neutral about it, or you have to like powderiness, because while it's not overpowering, it's still pretty prominent. And you know, if somebody would ask me like, if you would describe this fragrance in 3 words, what would you say? I would say powdery, rose, and vanilla. So, you know, that's why I'm saying you have to kind of enjoy those 3 aspects and to enjoy Eladaria. And I would think that it would make a perfect signature scent because, like I've said, it's subdued, but at the same time it is very classy and it's not gonna choke you out, and it's perfect for any weather. But I think definitely the season for it is spring and summer because it's pretty light and rosy and powdery, and the bottle is really a good representation of what the fragrance smells like. You know, it's very gentle, light, soft pink, and that's what I imagine this fragrance also smelled like. And that was Eladaria. And now we're gonna talk about evening fragrances, and I want to start, you might have guessed it as well, and it's Fetiche La Rose by Christian Louboutin. And this is my new all-time favorite rose essence. It might have even taken the Delina's spot in my collection because I just fell in love, maybe because it's so new, I'm still excited about it, but it's just so good. Like I'm really happy that I blind bought it because it smells amazing for the evening. It's just perfect, you know, if you're going somewhere formal, if you're going somewhere fancy, if you just want to feel special, or it's a special day for you, then you're not gonna, you know, be wrong wearing this fragrance because it smells amazing. It smells like rose with hints of cherry. I would say it's like 80% rose, 20% of cherry. Cherry's there, but it's not super prominent. It's just a hint of it that makes it kind of more interesting, but rose is definitely star of the show. And there's also some like spicy notes that are coming from pink pepper and ginger. And you know, they make it a little more dry, a bit more spicy. They add like a interesting kick to it that otherwise without those notes, this fragrance would not be the same. It's really beautiful. And also I am convinced that there are woods in this fragrance because like it kind of smells like a cork from very dry wine bottle. Like if you have ever tried very dry type of wine that leaves this tart taste in your mouth, and then you smell the cork, and that's kind of the vibe that I get in the very deep dry down. So I think there are some kind of woods in the base, but they're not listed, so I'm not really sure what type of woods, but I think they are there. But again, they are kind of there to like make it more well-rounded. It's not a woody fragrance, it's a rose fragrance with pink pepper, with ginger, a bit of cherry, you know, and a bit of woods in the dry down. And also I would say that this fragrance is good for evening for any type of season, like spring, summer, fall, winter. But definitely if it's like super hot, super humid, maybe it's not the time for it, even though honestly I haven't tried it in a very hot and humid weather yet. Definitely not during the daytime, definitely not, but in the evening, you know, possible. I will try and I will give you the update. And also I would say that this fragrance is definitely like, it's just so special that it's not for daytime. It just, you know, I don't really want to wear it during daytime because really this fragrance calls like a special occasion. And that was a Fetiche La Rose by Christian Louboutin. And last but not least is new release by Suspiro, and it's El Padrino. And I've heard, you know, Gabi loves perfume, rave about this scent, and I was super excited to try it after her review on it because it just, you know, ticked all the boxes that I enjoy. It's like sweet, creamy, boozy, like slightly resinous and balsamic. It's really amazing. So when I first tried it, I was like, I'm not really sure, but you know, wait till the dry down. The dry down is where it's at with this type of fragrance, or with this specific fragrance. It really shines in the dry down. Like in the opening, it's pretty intense, and it's like a lot of things at once. There's amaretto, there's rum, like very boozy in the opening. In the nostril, there's blackcurrant. And in addition, there's some like also like sourness and tartness coming from bergamot. Like it's prominent in the opening, and you know, it's a very kind of unique mix, like fruitiness from blackcurrant, and then you get the booziness from the alcohol, and you get the citrusness from bergamot. It's like a lot all at once, and I did not really understand it at first. There was something slightly off-putting in the opening for me. So in case it happens for you as well, do not be scared, do not, you know, get disappointed, because the dry down is where it's at. It's a really beautiful dry down. Also in the opening, like I do pick up a bit of patchouli, like they make this fragrance a bit more green, a bit more like kind of grounded, but it's not too much patchouli, so don't be afraid of patchouli here. And the dry down is where it's at. Like I've said, you know, it's a very delicious boozy combination of boozy notes and vanilla, and there's also benzoin and labdanum. It makes it like a very warm, rich, resinous, balsamic type of scent with like a sultry type of feel about it. It kind of smells like your skin, your very warm, hot skin, with like booziness on it. Like it's really beautiful. I like the dry down a lot. It kind of reminds me of Bailey's, the drink. Like it's also, I imagine this fragrance have the same texture, have the same kind of color and smell and taste. Like it's sweet. It's very sweet, but also there is that booziness, you know, the coming from alcohol. It's just good. It's really good. If you like this type of scents, I feel like, you know, you like El Padrino. You have to like boozy scents. You have to like warm, sultry, kind of balsamic, like slightly balsamic, slightly resinous scents. And if you like it, I feel like you will like El Padrino as well. And I think it's an evening fragrance first and foremost. Probably good for winter and fall, but also yesterday I wore it, it was pretty hot outside and it still was beautiful. So I think it's a good year-round type of fragrance, but for the evening for sure. For the daytime it would be too overpowering, too much, and it just would not really fit the vibe, if you know what I mean. So these were my reviews of all perfumes that I really liked. They were recently released. I think they're all really good, and I really hope that you like some of them or all of them. And please let me know, did you try any of these scents, or do you have them? What do you think about them? I really am excited to hear your. And my SD card just ran out of battery, so I want to continue. I want to hear your opinions. I'm really excited to read them, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.